Welcome to Rainbow Soul Vodcast, where our soul astrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and Lacrosse's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
I need to tilt the camera.
Hey. Don't. Oh my god.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was real pain. Trying to get everybody in the proper place, trying to get us live in the group. For whatever reason, Facebook is not allowing my profile to go live and is slowing me down. For whatever reason. I did it like 5 times. So then we did it under Bright Hawk's name and it let her go live. So in the group for whatever reason, for unknown reasons, as mentioned.
I wonder if it's something to do with the astrology. Full moon in Cancer?
I don't know. Full moon in Cancer. I mean, Cancer's like home and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but it's conjunct. Well, we'll get to it in a minute.
Yeah. So hello everyone. I will have to bring up the group so that I can see everyone in there. Otherwise I won't be able to see you, and that's not really helpful. So welcome. This is an astrology forecast. I'm Hollis Taylor, in case you didn't know that. And we're doing this week's astrology forecast to give you an idea of what the week might be like for you. And we're hoping that we can also answer your questions about astrology and how this might be affecting you and things like that. So we look forward to hearing from you. So you can comment in the group, especially like if you know anything about your astrology chart or anything like that. You want to bring that up. And we'll be talking about, so first I'll start with, hi Bianca. I thought about you while I was struggling to get the thing to go live. And I was like, oh my gosh, Bianca, I think that we're not going to show up. And I was like, we're trying, Bianca. I'm glad you kind of like heard my psychic message. Hey, Bobby, it's great to see you. Welcome, my friend. So first, we're going to do a little guided meditation for astrology. And I think we'll do the full moon in Cancer, which actually is really great. So let's take a minute to take a deep breath. Take a minute to ground yourself. Feel your feet on the floor, feel your bottom in the seat. And just close your eyes and allow the hand-pan vibes to just relax you. And as you allow the hand-pan vibes to carry you away, you can imagine yourself in your home, maybe just outside your home, in an outdoors place that you feel like home, where you are surrounded by nature, and when you look up into the sky, you can see the beautiful full moon shining bright down on you, lighting up your beautiful yard, this beautiful place that you love, that feels like home. And as you are smiling at this full moon in Cancer, you can feel the fullness in your heart of what it feels like to be at home, to be comfortable, to know that you're safe, to feel safe and comfortable in this space, to feel held and nurtured. You can put your hand on your heart and remind yourself what that feels like to be home, to be safe, to be nurtured. And you can feel the full moon's glow glowing down on you, filling you with that loving, nurturing light. Helping you to feel nurtured and safe. And as we come back into our present body, into our here and now, we come back, feel our feet on the floor. Maybe you might touch your legs or your arms, stretch your fingers, toes, wiggle them around, and become present in the here and now. Open your eyes. Be present with us now. Woohoo! Thank you, Bright Hawk. Thank you. It's beautiful music. And I needed it after all that. Holy camoles. Wow.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad you're all here. And today we're going to go through the astrology for this week in, in a fairly, it's not scary at all. We are beginning a new story, is what I always say. When the nodes move, that begins a new story, and that actually happened over the weekend. So we'll talk about that in just a minute, and then as we going forward, we're starting a new this year. Like, if you feel like things are like finally coming together, and maybe you're going on new paths and finding new things or new ways of doing stuff, all that kind of stuff might be coming up for you right now. So if you're feeling that, that's what's going on. It has a lot to do with the stars, and we'll do our best here to present the slides. So everybody didn't introduce themselves because I was such a hot mess, and I usually do that. So I'm Hollis. I'm an astrologer here on Rainbow Soul, and
Hi there, I'm Bright Hawk. an astrologer. I put the slides together. Obviously, I'm a musician, and
I'm Lacrosse. I stay here and ask a lot of questions.
Hey, and you also bring in information about the animals and stuff like
I
that.
love that part. That's always
And being an Indigenous mentor, I think that's pretty important.
we miss you when you're not here.
For sure. Yeah.
So
I miss it when I'm not here. I'm like, what is happening?
the nodes changing is a really big deal. Everyone will feel that for sure, one way or another, especially if you have Virgo placements and especially if you have Pisces placements. Because Pisces, well, we'll get to the deck here in a second, but the North Node is in Pisces, the South Node is in Virgo. They've just switched signs and they'll be in those signs for the next 18 months.
I think it was Saturday night they moved.
It's true. It's a new story. A new story begins.
And the thing, so what I want to say first is if we're saying things that confuse you, please ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I would recommend that you take a look at your own astrology chart when we're saying this, because everybody has a little bit of Cancer, everybody has a little bit of Virgo, everybody has Pisces, everybody has Aries, Scorpio, whatever. Okay. You have all the zodiacs in your chart. I promise you. Okay. And so it's best to have your chart in front of you so that you can see how there's this weird, like 4 symbol in I think this is Sagittarius. You can ask me and I'll be happy to try to help you with that. So Alyssa here is a Pisces sun, a Gemini moon, and a Leo rising. Whew, Alyssa, man.
Say this game is on.
It's okay. I'm sure with a Pisces sun, it could be you probably felt that North Node Saturday, Sunday. I bet you felt it. And with a Leo rising, Cancer just got off of the Mars just got off your rising. So thank goodness, right?
But with Leo, you're going to be feeling Mars retrograde for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get into the charts in a second.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yep.
Is there any?
I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that we were acknowledging everyone.
Okay, great.
And you know, and I like to make sure that everybody's, you know, that I can hear you and I can see you. Hi, Marie Grattan. It's great to see you. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. So what I'm going to do first is Bright Hawk and I are going to go over this week's forecast, and then I'll be looking at the Cancer full moon, probably a Cancer full moon in your in each zodiac sign, which would answer to your sun, moon, or rising sign. Okay. So now everybody has a chart that looks a little like this. Okay. And those symbols on the outside are the zodiac sign. The numbers on the inside are your houses. And the little weird looking symbols are actually the planets. Okay. Or asteroids. And or points, because we are going to be talking about the nodes. So yeah. So the thing is just this weekend, these 2 points so the North Node and the South Node are always opposite each other, always. And so that we say that they're on the axis of Pisces Virgo right now. That's where they moved in this weekend. You probably felt it. I had a couple of Pisces people, not just some of the people that were closer to me, but even people I barely knew in some astrology groups were like, wow, I've been crying all weekend. And I'm like, ooh, North Node and Pisces there. It's probably good if you have been crying a lot this weekend, because the South Node is in Virgo. And I feel like if you've been crying, it's kind of propelling you forward. And the South Node, since it's in Virgo, it's a lot about wellness. So literally, when I say to people that are grieving, when I say, well, don't stop your tears, because crying is healing. They're good for you. It's good for you. Even if you're at work or something, just go to the bathroom. Okay, go to the bathroom and cry, and just let yourself have a cry, and then wipe your face, put some cold water on your face, and go back out there. Okay, don't make such a big deal about it, because the more you sit on it, it's like trying to push a balloon underwater. And the thing is that with the South Node in Virgo, anything that you're releasing now would probably make you sick if you tried to push it down. Literally, because Virgo rules wellness. Virgo rules health, okay? And with the North node in Pisces there, that's propelling us forward to inner peace. So allow that stuff to shed. So Bianca said, I've been learning each small parts of my natal chart, but actually putting it all together is so complicated. It just is mind-boggling to me.
It's true. It can be.
It can be, Bianca, but eventually it starts to come together. And let me tell you, Bianca, one of the ways that I learned was watching these kinds of broadcasts every week, bringing my chart. And sometimes if the astrologer said a certain date, I would mark it on my calendar and pay attention to what happened to me on that day. So that's the best way to learn, Bianca. You're on the right track. Don't worry, it will make sense more and more. And if you want to, you can try. Bright Hawk and I did a 101 class, and we were thinking about doing another astrology course online. But I don't know if we have enough of interest in that at this time. We could do another interactive 101 where you come, we do a little bit of a lecture, and then you ask questions. If you're interested in the 101 class, please let us know. As for right now, the nodes moving is a big shift. It's the beginning of a story. They're going to be there for a year and a half. So you want to look and find out, where is Pisces, where is Virgo? So on here, you can see that Pisces is up at the top there. It kind of looks like a blue, like fishes like this that come together. And on the opposite side, you can see like a brown, yellow, green. I don't know what color that is really. I guess it's brownish. Like sort of an M color, and then it has like a little whoop on the edge of it. My grandson calls it a hump.
What are you talking about?
Virgo. And
Okay.
so Virgo is on the opposite of it, because I can't point on here. I can't. Right. I don't think. Can you guys see my pointer? I wonder if they can. Can you? Can you look across? No. Okay. So with Pisces up at the top there, across from Virgo, you can see those are the symbols you're looking for on your chart. Okay. So if you look for those, you want to look and see, is there anything else in there? Because right now the North nodes have started, the North and South node have started their transit through those signs. And if there's any planets in there, you're going to feel it, particularly when the node moves over it.
Yeah. And it's a powerful day, my friends. It's a full moon. And we know that the full moon is big energy. And it's trining the North node, trying to speak, North node, and almost at the same time, not exact, but almost exact, the moon and Mars are conjunct. I took this, I think, the snapshot for when the moon is exact in its full moon.
Well, this is at 3:30, so this is just this afternoon.
Yeah, literally, it just happened. So moon is conjunct Mars, and Pluto and the sun are growing closer and closer together, opposite each other. Obviously, full moon, that's what makes it. It's opposite each other. And so that's kind of big energy, oppositional energy. And then, of course, then you throw in, there's these conversations that are happening. So the sun is in a conversation with Uranus. So is the moon. The sun is trining Uranus. The moon is sextiling Uranus. The sun is in a sextile to Neptune, and the moon is in a trine to Neptune. Do you see what I'm saying? You have this opposition where obviously Pluto is the higher, not obviously, apologies. Mars and Pluto are related. Mars is obviously the god of war, and Pluto is considered the higher vibration of Mars energy. It's the farthest out, it's the slowest mover, and now it has taken up residence in Aquarius for the next 20 or so years. So anyone who had Capricorn placements, when Pluto moved out of Capricorn, you're like, oh, God, did somebody finally take a house off of me or what? You know?
I survived.
It can be a very uncomfortable energy. But Pluto is the god of the underworld. Pluto is all about transformation. Pluto is about ending a cycle and beginning a new one, death and rebirth. And so these placements are big energies.
Yeah, and what I also I was looking at this actually just the other day because I was helping somebody with understanding the nodes, and I noticed that Neptune was pretty much that
Right.
the node is coming right up onto Neptune.
Right.
And then today I was also listening a little bit to Nadia Shah, and I was wondering about that because I was like, are we like under some illusion right now? Because Neptune usually rules illusions or deception, or like looking at something, we think it's this way, but it's actually this way. And so it's just a delusion. And so I'm wondering about whatever might be going on for you this week, this weekend, and this week, and in the coming weeks. It may not make a whole lot of sense to you until she was saying until the node is past Neptune. And I was like, okay. And so Nadia Shah teaches astrology. That's where I've done a lot of my learning at her school. So if you're interested, she doesn't have many 101 classes, but she has tons of advanced classes. Anyway, so as the North Node moves over Neptune, she also does weekly forecasts. They're really good. And she's usually spot on. And so we may not notice this for like, maybe another month or so, maybe a couple months. Maybe we won't really notice till like the spring when Neptune moves into Aries. But the whatever's happening now really does have a bigger purpose for later. And when you learn astrology, you just kind of learn to trust that. And right now, with all of these conversations with Uranus, like Brighthawk was saying, this is very much our life path. This is how you chose to be here at this time. And while it might feel hard to you at any given moment, you're meant to be here. And there's something, if you're still alive, you're meant to be here right now for some reason. And discovering that reason is the fun part, okay? And following through on that reason is the fun part. So I encourage you to look deeply into your chart, so to find why you're here. And now's a great time to do that, especially with the North Node, which is your destiny, moving signs. It will affect you, whether you're North Node or if you have the Sun or any other planets in Pisces. Everybody has Pisces. It will affect everyone, some people more so than others.
I always want to say everyone has a sky over their head,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't matter where you are, everyone has a sky over your head. So
Right.
it speaks to all of us. And
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was kind of curious. Like, I see that affects the North Node, but since the South Node, like, where does that play in it?
Well, the South Node is kind of like what you're shedding, right?
Mhm.
So, like, since it's opposite Neptune, you may not realize that you're shedding your trauma in the moment. So, like, one person that I was helping that was crying over the weekend a lot, and she couldn't figure out why. She happens to be a Pisces. She actually has 2 planets in Pisces. But also, I was saying to her, sometimes when you're crying and allowing trauma to leave your body, you don't know why you're crying. She didn't
Mhm.
really understand why she was crying. She didn't really have like a reason for it. And I think that that's the Neptune influence, if that makes sense. So the South Node is like, they're opposite. They're always opposite, the North Node and the South Node, because they're points based on the moon. And the South Node, they call it the dragon's arse, the dragon's ass, because it's kind of where the shit comes out, okay? Where the crap you no longer need, where it releases. And that's why I was saying that if you're crying or having, especially if you're crying or having any kind of release, because Pisces tends to be very watery, it's actually good. Allow it to come through. Don't stop it, because it'll make you sick if you don't.
Right.
Because the South Node is in Virgo, and Virgo rules wellness, health. And Virgo is very much about, and we know that if you hold trauma in your body, it will make you sick. That's scientific evidence shows that. Okay. So if you're And trauma is everything, guys. It's not just childhood trauma if you were assaulted as a child or whatever. Trauma is also, my mom died, my husband died, my child died.
We all lived through a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah. Or, or maybe,
Things,
one of the things that, one of the reasons that I find myself crying sometimes, I think, is the trauma of what has recently happened, which has just been a health scare with my heart. And it's just been so stressful that sometimes you just have to be like, oh my gosh. Okay, you just have to let it go. So when you cry, please don't judge yourself.
Yeah.
Just see it as healing. So Mari said, this is my first time. Well, welcome, Mari. I'm glad you're here. And she said, I'm kind of lost about the translations of the nodes. I'm Pisces.
Okay.
So
Can
go ahead.
I've been wanting to jump in on
Go
this
for
because
it.
we haven't really defined the nodes. So thank you so much for asking. So when we talk about the nodes, we've been talking about the North Node and the South Node. They're not actual
Planets.
elements in space. They are the part of what is known as the elliptical of the path that the moon will take for the next year and a half. And so as a result, and actually every planet has nodes, but the only one that seems to be significant in astrology is the lunar nodes. So that path becomes what we look at, and it changes every year and a half. And that's why we said when the nodes change signs, the story changes. And if you have major placements in those signs, Virgo for the South Node, Pisces for the North Node, right now Pisces are having a really intense ride because what's going on in the chart is that we have what's called a stellium. A stellium is 3 or more planets in one sign. It's a super concentration. So everybody's feeling a lot of Pisces. Like worldwide. All of us are feeling Pisces. And my nickname for Pisces is the ocean of emotion. We are all one in this big bathtub, this big ocean of emotion, this big, everyone feels everything and we're all one, and it's very watery and it's obviously very emotional. And of course, Venus has entered Pisces, is almost conjunct Saturn. It happens, you'll see it in the charts. And Venus is exalted in Pisces. And Venus wants what she loves. Venus is about pleasure and relationships and values and what's important
and money,
values, right? Values are not just money, but what you value, what you love. So this just amps up everything going on in Pisces even more. So the beautiful thing about just letting go and letting yourself grieve or breathe or cry or whatever is if you let it happen authentically, it doesn't even take a minute.
Nope.
But if you suppress it, oh my God, it can take so freaking long.
Don't try to push the balloon underwater.
Yeah,
don't
it's kind of stuff. Yeah. So what does this all mean for a Libra?
Okay, hold on. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. So what I want
is like, yeah, man, Libra, talk about it.
Okay, well, hold on a second. So Molly, I want to say that the North Node in Pisces, since at least your sun is there, we know that for sure. That means your sun also pushes you forward. So something is pushing you forward right now. Something is nudging you from behind, and you may not realize it right now because Neptune is involved. So it's just kind of like pushing you, okay? And so that you're probably feeling that a lot. Any planet you have in Pisces, you're probably feeling that. And since we know your sun is in Pisces, that's how we know that you're probably feeling that. Hi, Shauna. Great to see you. And if you're super emotional, Shauna, it's still that Mars retrograde that's going over your ascendant because you're a Leo rising and a Leo sun. So because you're a double Leo, the Mars moved backwards and now it's going backwards in your house of identity, which could be in your 12th house, which is why you don't really realize what's happening and things are kind of coming out of nowhere. But soon it will turn around and go forward. And I told you, when it does, it will all get better. Okay, just right now, trust the universe is leading you in the right place. You are not losing it, Alyssa. I think Alyssa's a Pisces sun, she said earlier.
The good news is we've changed some things with Rainbow Soul. So Hollis is going to address everyone's sign at the very end, where we'll look at this and talk about it. And if you missed last week and you wanted to know how the nodes were going to affect you, you could always jump to the end of last week's podcast, and Hollis goes over each and every sign and how it affects you.
Yep, I did it last week. This week I'm probably going to focus on the moon, maybe. So we'll do that at the end. I'll go through everybody's sign and talk about what the major aspects of this week will be for you. So I covered the nodes last week. Just when we're done this broadcast, just go back, find Rainbow Soul, and you can just look at the old one on whatever page you're on, and just find last week's. All right. And I'm sorry that you're feeling so much anxiety, Donna Izzy.
Oh, can I just say something that I heard in a podcast this last week about anxiety?
Sure.
The antidote to anxiousness is creativity. So anything you can do for yourself, cooking, painting, anything that puts you in a sensory, not logical place where you can just get lost in it, that's what you want to do for anxiety. And I realized that when I was listening to it, that one of my resolutions last year, and I have followed through and I can check the box on it, is that I would create a new piece of art every month. And so I did. I got way more consistent, and I've noticed the more I spend time painting, guess what?
Better
I'm not
you
anxious
feel.
at all. Unless my painting isn't going the way I'm wanting it to, and then I'm usually
then
having
it's not
to
anxiety,
adjust.
then it's you're pissed.
Yeah, then I'm usually like, okay, this isn't going the way I thought. Let's, whatever.
Okay.
But I offer that because I just think that's a fantastic way.
So Molly, the best thing you could do is go to astro.com and download your free astrology chart. And if you have a printer, print it off, or at least save the image so you can look at it when we're talking about things.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Jenny. I see that you're a Capricorn. You just had Pluto leave your sign. What we're talking about is the general energies. And then at the end of that broadcast, we'll go through each sign, including Capricorn, and I'll tell you how the week's energy will be for you. Okay. It'll sort of be help prepare you, so do you need an umbrella or do you need a heavy coat? Okay. So it's sort of like that.
So a quick thing I'll share with Capricorns is that if you look at the chart, there is a big blue triangle, and that big triangle is called a grand trine. And what makes it grand is that each point points to the same element. And in this case, that element is earth. And so it's pointing to the south node in Virgo, which is an earth sign, to Uranus in Taurus, which is an earth sign, and of course the sun in Capricorn. We're in the last days of Capricorn right now. So that trine, and because it involves Uranus, slow mover, south node, they're not terribly fast. Obviously, they spend a year and a half in one sign, so they don't exactly move quickly. And the sun's going to move out of that configuration faster than anybody. But that grand trine, an earth trine, so if you've got Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo, there should be a lovely blessing that makes you feel like you can. And the other reason why I want to point this out is wherever there's challenges in their chart, there's usually something fun, something good, something you can lean into that's not the opposition, that's not the square. So where's the goodness in today? And actually it lasts all week. You know that almost, if you've been listening to us, almost all of last 2-3 weeks was a mystic rectangle, which means there's a flow in things. And sextiles and trines. And so this,
Trines are easy. They come together easily.
thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. So
They
this
just-
grand trine should make everybody feel a little more grounded, which is great because the Pisces stuff is going to not necessarily have you feel
You'll
grounded.
be floating on a okay.
Yeah.
But so here's an example of a grand trine Earth, because I'm realizing, oh, I'm experiencing that. Okay. So like I have my sun is in Virgo, and my south node is up there on Taurus. Uranus is actually on my south node right now in my chart. Okay. And I happen to know that.
Oh.
Okay. And so I know that what's actually happening right now for me is that for years since 2020, I have been struggling with a genetic heart condition. And that's where my sun is in Virgo, and the sun rules the heart. And it's been really hard. It's been hard to exercise, like just stupid little things. And I experience some anxiety when I'm exercising because of the fear of sudden cardiac death. Okay. And of course, my son, if you know, my son was in a coma this summer from the same condition. Both my grandchildren have also been tested positive for it. Okay. So it's really anxiety producing. Both my father and my grandmother died of it. Okay. So it's a little bit like, okay. And of course, my son was in a coma. So he's okay now, but you can understand the anxiety would be way up here, right? And the risk of sudden cardiac death goes up every time I exercise. Okay. So what's about to happen to me on Thursday is I'm about to get a device in my arm that will shock me if my heart ever does that. Okay. If my heart ever goes into a dangerous rhythm, it will shock me, and the shock to my heart will reset my heart. Okay. Now, as scary as that shock may sound, it's way better than the alternative. Okay. And so it keeps you alive. Okay. And for me, this is like, finally, we're getting there. Like, first I had to have open heart surgery so that I could move. And then I had to have gallbladder surgery. It has been a journey for 4 years. And now Uranus, as it starts to leave Taurus off of my south node, and the south node starts to go towards my sun, it's saying, okay, Hollis, we can now let that anxiety go. And I'm not having to work at it. I just have to go to the hospital at 5:30 in the morning. It should be a very easy surgery, sort of in and out the same day. And I might be a little sore for a few days, but for the most part, as far as I can tell, it should be an easy, no drama type of thing. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you're an earth sign, if you're Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, and something is finally coming to an end now. Something is finally starting to wrap up, or you're finally starting to find some sort of physical manifestation of something that you've been trying to get. Maybe it's work, maybe it's money, maybe it's something at home. That's what's happening in the universe right now, is sort of conspiring to help you make that happen.
And with the South Node involved, it's helping heal the past. And with Uranus involved, Uranus is a surprise a minute. Uranus is unexpected. Hopefully, what I like to say is I'm willing to be delightfully surprised. You get what you expect. So,
well, it's retrograde now, so yeah, it should just be.
So that's Grand Trine is going to be all week.
Yeah, and I think it's actually really good. I think the week at least starts out really beautiful and really inspiring. Mm-hmm. And the people that are probably struggling the most would probably be Cancer, and people maybe people with some other placements, but the Cancer placement with the moon, full moon there, that's actually good, but Mars is retrograde there, and the two of them conjunct, I don't know, it could be really hard. It could really affect your home, and with Mars retrograde, it's almost as if sometimes with Mars retrograde, I notice there's nothing you can do about it,
right?
Or very little you can do about it.
Yeah. And what I say every time about Mars retrograde is be very careful about how you react. because things can happen quickly and there's no taking it back. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't mean to blow that up.
Yeah. So
Because Mars has a way of blowing shit up, and retrograde, it means you really, really want to step carefully.
Because otherwise it boomerangs.
Remember, when it's retrograde, it's reflect, remember, recall, redo, maybe reorganize. It's all the words, right?
It's making you
review, make sure you're doing the things you're supposed to be doing. I also feel like Mars retrograde is demands integrity, and if you're out of integrity, it'll slap you harder than you can even go, what just happened? Where did that come from? So it's a really big lesson in walk carefully, gracefully, gently, and don't be aggressive. In the Mars retrograde, if you're aggressive, boy, it can boomerang on you.
Yeah.
But I've literally seen people who are in the right where somebody's come at them, and the person that's come at them in a less than integrous way, that person ends up with egg all over their face.
Right.
In one of those kind of, oops, that didn't go the way I thought it was going to go.
Shauna said that she listens to your music now when she's anxious.
Oh, that's another good solution.
Thanks for sending good vibes and thoughts to us, Donna. That will be early Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. So I'll pull a cool call out for prayers probably. And thanks. I appreciate that. Exactly, Alyssa. The defib will lift a lot of weight off my shoulders. Exactly. So you can see why that's a grand trine, right? You can see why that's like, feels so much better. And although it's taking me a while to get there, most of this should just come together easily this week for me. And thanks. I appreciate that, Donna. And I bet you do feel some stuff as a Cancer there, Donna. Izzy, I'm gonna just call you Izzy. Izzy, because it's Cancer. Yeah, if you're a Cancer rising, Bianca, I don't know if there's something going on at home, but I would imagine this week you've probably already been feeling it, and it might sort of amp up and intensify this week. Oh, I see there's a void moon on Tuesday.
Yeah, so this is Mountain Time. So if you're on the East Coast, it'll be 6:45 for you. West Coast, it'll start at 3:45. But it goes all the way into 9:15. So if you're on the East Coast, you'll get more benefit from this because you're more likely to be up and awake. I generally try not to be awake at 4:45.
But it happens.
But Tuesday morning, there'll be this very spacious window before the moon changes signs from Cancer to Leo. And we call that time when right in between when the moon moves over between signs, a void, of course, moon. And it means that the moon has less energy. So at a full moon is when the moon has the most energy it can have. And that's when we say, if you have a choice, don't schedule a surgery on a full moon. Like today would have been a really intense day. Like, don't do it. We're doing it on Thursday. Mm-hmm. Good.
Actually, when the moon is moving away from full and into new is the best time.
Yeah.
If you have a choice.
We call it a waning moon. Okay. Mm-hmm. When it's shedding, it's a good time to deal with procedures. Mm-hmm. So the moon, obviously, it's now still conjunct Mars. It's on the other side of it. And now the moon has stepped its toe into Leo. And it's still trining Neptune and the North Node. And so, again, very positive aspects for the moon. But there's a lot of intensity because of Mars. And, of course, the opposition to Pluto. So...
But the thing about Mars and Pluto is they're very exact. I notice that Pluto, like it might like overall we'll see this time as a time, but for us in our personal lives, if you don't have anything at 25, 26, or 27 Cancer or 0, 1, or 2 Aquarius, you probably won't feel anything in the moment, okay? or unless it's in a square or something. There's got to be like Mars or Pluto has to be on top of it in order for you to really feel it. Okay. Or for it to, that's when it will be at its peak. Okay. That's when it will be at its hardest moment. Okay. And I think that with Mars, and the moon, Mars in Cancer, if you have anything in Cancer, you could absolutely be feeling this right now. And then with the moon moving into Leo, it could really help you amplify your emotions, which could be helpful for some things, because Leo tends to drive forward and get what they need, and tends to be at a higher, like, sort of like, because it's fire sign, so it's going to go get it, where water sign is more like allows things to happen. And the other thing about Mars in Cancer is that it's not super strong. It's in its detriment, so it tends to be a little bit more like maybe you just feel a little down. Maybe you're feeling low. Your emotions might feel low or whatever. Pluto in Aquarius is way stronger compared to the two. And since they're in an opposition, the Pluto in Aquarius is actually going to play out stronger. So the Pluto in Aquarius would be like feeling like we all have to come together. That's the collective, right? And that's what we're starting to see, is that people are starting to gather as the collective.
Yeah.
All right. So so just so you know, whoops, I skipped like day. Just so you know, the nodes will be in Pisces and Virgo for the next year and a half, 16 months, I think the thing says, 18 months. So I was right, a year and a half. And so just so you know that it will be the story for the next year and a half. And you may not realize what that story is until like this summer. Okay. And okay, so as we move on to Wednesday, again, we still have that grand trine, which is staying. Okay. And the interesting thing is, to me, is that so Venus is actually, yep, I think it's the strongest planet right now out of all of the planets, because it's what we call exalted. And so in astrology, you give a weight to certain planets. And so Venus in Pisces is very important. It's very strong. Okay. And Venus in Pisces usually has something to do with relationships. It may also have something to do with money. Okay. Especially depending on where Pisces is in your chart. It's in a square to Jupiter, which is in Gemini right now, which is in its detriment. So that means that you may not have the greatest of luck at things, maybe with money or whatever. You might have to work at it a little bit. You might have to go that extra mile. You might have to make sure you're managing your money. You don't want to make any mistakes right now. You want to be careful about how you're spending your money, and also how you're handling your relationships.
Right, because squares are challenges. Squares are, it's going to go this way or that way. You have to make a decision. It's yes or it's no. It's a square. It's an intense angle. It's 90 degrees, and it demands some work. Now, it can be a good thing. It can make things happen. Squares can make things happen, where trines are just blessings and shit just fell together and you don't even know how it happened. I'm just so blessed. I just don't even know. Right. You know, like when we look at a chart that has so many trines, a lot of times what you find out is that the person's actually kind of lazy. They're not challenged enough in life, and so they don't even realize their blessings, all those trines. So a square, Venus squaring Jupiter, and Jupiter being a benefic. Jupiter makes everything bigger. Venus says, what do you love? And Jupiter's like, make it big, you know? So that square means like, don't overdo the shopping or the spending. If you've just met somebody,
don't commit. Don't commit. Take your time.
Take it easy. Just like,
but it is
let things get revealed.
I feel like it's in a sextile to Mercury, so that's your answer. That's how you resolve.
There you go.
Mercury is about communication, and right now, Mercury is in Capricorn. So talk to somebody that's very grounded.
Are Mercury and Gemini still in mutual reception? No, they're
No.
not.
So Mercury's in Capricorn. So when Mercury's in Capricorn, it's very much like, it's kind of cold and grounded. It's not that they're cold. Some people might say that, like I find that more sensitive people would say that. What I would say about Capricorn is they're just very grounded. Okay. And so Mercury and grounded is grounded conversation. So talk to somebody that's grounded about your thing, whatever's going on that might feel extra special or different or whatever. Try to get in touch with someone that's grounded, especially if it has to do with work or your business or anything like that. It could be some resolution and a little bit of challenges and maybe some changes. Maybe there's some things you have to change about the way you're doing things or whatever. And I'm currently experiencing that with the way the way I promote my services. Yeah. So there's definitely some changes asking me to change. And since Pisces is in my house of creativity, and Jupiter is in my 8th house of intuition and things like that, and Mars is retrograde in Cancer, which is where Saturn is for me. So that tells me a lot about my experience. So take a look at your chart and see where Pisces and Gemini are, because that's where Jupiter and Venus are, and that'll tell you what the number of the house is, pretty much what the theme is, what part of your life. And you can always look up what are the keywords for the second house in astrology, and it will tell you exactly. Google will tell you. Okay. So this is Wednesday, and as we get into Thursday,
So the thing that I'm going to start off with on the moon on Thursday is that the moon is void for 12 hours. All day, which means low drama, good time to take care of yourself, good self-care, do whatever feels good for you. Remember,
good time to have a surgery.
Voids are not when you're trying to launch something or put something out into the world. It's receptive energy, like having surgery or receiving that. It's self-care. It's get grounded, get connected, get still, get quiet, because the moon is changing signs. So that I like to really point them out a lot. It's not every time the change happens, sometimes we see it's just minutes long, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I really like to point them out when, like, newsflash, this one's happening all day long. Like if you're on the East Coast from 6 a.m. to 6:45 p.m.
So it's no drama day.
It's not. So if there's somebody you loathe dealing with because they're always drama, and you're like, oh, I have to have a conversation with so-and-so, this could be the moment to do it, where there's just, it only takes 5 minutes instead of whatever, So let us know how that goes for you. But I've really been appreciating learning about void moons, how to use them wisely.
Yeah. And I mean, we have traveled in a void moon, and everything was just like,
it was just chill.
And
there was
and
no
you can
drama.
just tell. Mm-hmm. And if you're Cancer, you'll notice it even more. It will be amplified for you.
And Pisces, you'll probably feel like, oh, thank God, I can have a break.
Pisces will be ready for a break.
Yeah.
And as we move into like this weekend, I actually see more beautiful energy. The moon fully in Cancer conjunct the South Node in Cancer. I really feel like this might be a little bit of some emotional experience. You definitely might be experiencing some emotionality over the weekend. But like I said before, allow. And that is something to master. I will say that when I first started therapy when I was 30 years old, when I got serious about therapy, my therapist said, I was just waking up and crying, and I didn't really know why. And my therapist was like, just allow it. Just cry, and you don't need to know why. Because to rid trauma of your body, you don't have to know why you're crying. You don't have to identify it. All you have to do is feel it.
Right.
And once you feel it, then it passes and then you can heal. So then you're healing in a really good way. And that's really the way forward. So if you're experiencing more of that this weekend, just allow it because of that opposition with Pisces and Virgo. I just feel like with the moon down in Virgo, I can even see myself crying, probably because of all the years. Can you imagine 4 years of constantly, having this sudden cardiac death like hanging over your head, and then for it to happen or almost happen to your son, and then, and then to be sort of holding it, and then to finally get the device and start to feel at home. And the thing about trauma is that you'll also know that you're in a safe place when you can cry. Because if you can't cry, then you're not safe yet. And so a lot of times when you're in trauma, if you're in a trauma response, you won't cry. Okay. You'll just get things done and you'll just do thing after thing after thing. But then when you find yourself crying, people give themselves a hard time. And I'm like, don't. You
Right.
finally arrived in a safe place. Allow yourself to cry.
Right.
It's just tears. You're a human being. You're supposed to experience it.
So the other thing that's happening on Saturday that I just want to give a minute or two is Venus is exact in its conjunction to Saturn. What does that mean? So you have Venus, who's exalted in Pisces, meeting Saturn, who is not exalted in Pisces. Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn isn't thrilled to be in a water sign. Saturn is authority, and Saturn is structure, and Saturn is, dad and father, and that kind of vibes. And so Saturn and Venus, that doesn't feel like a comfortable thing. Can you help us?
Well, it could be, because it could be uncomfortable for some, but because Venus is exalted, it will be stronger than Saturn.
Does this mean like it's a good time to ask for a raise?
It could be. Yep. If you're going to ask for a raise, ask for a raise like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Absolutely. In fact, if your boss is a pain, ask Thursday.
Right.
Or if you need some sort of financial thing or money thing, do it on Thursday. Okay. In fact, I should tell my son that because he's trying to buy a house. And so anyway, so Venus and Saturn in Pisces, actually Saturn could make the system work for you in that moment, because Venus is exalted, because Venus is in a good position. Now, Venus could like restrict your emotional relationship depending on where you are in your path and if you have anything else in Pisces. And remember, Neptune is still involved with the North Node there. So it could like restrict, it could create an illusion. You might think you want to buy that house, but maybe you don't. Or you could think that you want that raise, but maybe you don't want the extra responsibility. Holy crap. Okay. So like there could be a little bit of that. So make sure you think it through, but I think it's all part of destiny. Sometimes we make decisions like that and we learn to live with them. Saturn sometimes restricts. Okay.
Right.
And so, but Venus expands and tends to bring unconditional love and deep love, everlasting love. So if there is something in your relationship going on, you might have, like, if the relationship's not right, you might experience some restriction there somehow. You might decide to restrict your time with them or something like that. But I think it'll mostly be good for most people, unless they have some sort of placement that makes that more difficult.
Right.
It is opposite, though, the moon. So
right. And it's the end of Capricorn season. Sunday, I didn't do a chart for Sunday because the only thing that was changing was the sun steps into Aquarius. Happy birthday, Aquarius season coming up.
Yeah, Aquarius.
Yeah, we really wanted to point out the major things, and judging from the conversation, I'm really glad we did.
Yeah, I think that really it's that full moon in Cancer with Mars is probably still like the biggest thing. Just because it's, because it will have something to do with your home, or something to do with your with how you feel about your home, or something like that. Okay, so let's see, when exactly is the full moon?
It was at 3:30 today.
At 3:30 today.
Right.
Okay, so let me just bring it back. Okay. So I think when the moon is full will be its strongest, which is actually today. So let's talk about that and we'll start with Cancer. So let me share my chart so you guys can see what I'm doing. What I'm actually doing, that's UC Health. So what I'm actually doing, my phone is ringing because I'm having surgery and they like me to validate it. So you could just pick it up and hang it up. I'll do an e-check-in. Okay, so with the Cancer moon and Mars in Cancer, so this first will be for Cancer sun, Cancer rising, or Cancer moon. Okay, first of all, if you're Cancer moon, you're gonna you might be really feeling really down. Okay, really, really down. And if that happens, I just want to suggest that maybe you take some time to ground yourself. Remember to allow yourself to cry, allow this to come through. Maybe talk to somebody that's very grounding. That could be really helpful in this time. Going for the opposite can be a great way to deal with those watery emotions. So, it will probably have something to do with your identity and your home, which is interesting because my son's a Cancer rising and he's wanting to buy a house. So, and it's very much part of his identity to own his own home. It's like a thing that he's always wanted to do. Okay. So, like, I'm feeling like that. Okay. So it has to do with home and it also has to do with your identity. Okay. With how you identify yourself. And so there could be some struggle with it. There could be some with it, or some like, I'm not sure about this, or there could be something that's not quite working quite right for you. Talk to someone that's grounded and you'll get through this. Don't worry. So my Cancer, that's sun, moon, and rising. Okay. Just hang in there because it will have a lot to do with your identity. And as we move on to Leo, so for Leo, sun, moon, and rising, there's going to be stuff happening right now that you just don't get it. You just don't understand. Is it UC Health?
No.
Oh. You just don't understand why is this happening right now? And you're probably asking that question. And what I want to say to Leo, because it's in the 12th house. So the 12th house is like, you just don't see where this is going and how this could lead to anything good. And it will probably have something to do with your home, and probably making you feel down or frustrated. Things aren't going your way, especially with Mars retrograde. It's not forward, it feels backwards. Okay. But I want to assure you, as I told someone else that I think is a Leo sun, Leo rising today, that sometimes things have to fall apart in order for new things to come together. I assure you that when Mars goes direct, you will feel better, okay? And that will just be in a couple of weeks, okay? That's pretty soon here. Mars is going to turn around and go forward and go right through your sign, and all of those problems you've been experiencing since Mars retrograde are going to resolve. You're going to find an answer. You trust me, trust the universe that while you can't see it right now, it will change. The 12th house is a lot about institutions, nursing homes. It may also have something to do with hospitals, and it probably also has a lot to do with psychic awarenesses and psychic visions, okay, going forward. Now, that's for Leo, sun, moon, and rising, okay? So right now you're feeling it and you don't know why, but it probably has something to do with your home. You have no idea why this is happening to you. And then, and then as you go forward, so this is for Virgos. This is for Virgo, sun, moon, and rising, this is going to have something to do with the people you're surrounded by, the people that you work with day to day, the people that you work with every day. Maybe there's something going on that will be changing very soon. And just so you know, just so you're aware of it, that while you might have, and it could have something to do with like people that have power over you somehow, or people that or people that are above you, or somehow, like today I was dealing with insurance companies, for instance. Okay. And it did not go my way. Let me just say, it could be a little bit frustrating. It definitely it definitely annoyed me. For some reason, my insurance company does not allow you to fulfill your prescriptions at CVS. Like, what? Okay, so now I had to transfer it across the street to some stupid grocery store. Now I have to walk through the grocery store to get my prescription. It's totally stupid and annoying to me. But but again, it's somebody that has power over me, right? The insurance company. I can't do anything about it. I can't change it. And I just had to go with it. And that's what happened. While I sat in my car on hold for 25 minutes with the insurance company to find out why, I started to allow myself to come down off that frustration. Okay. And that was this afternoon. Okay. And with Mars retrograde, it could sometimes feel like things are going backwards. So just allow things to go backwards and just like try to let go. Just try to let it go. Okay. Just
and in
whatever.
case you're like holding your breath, when does Mars finally turn around? It is February 15th, I believe.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like early February.
The end is coming.
Yeah.
It won't last forever.
Yeah. So if you're Virgo, I totally feel you today. It's somebody that has power over you. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. So just let it go and move on. Okay. Just do whatever you have to do, Virgo. And for Libra, it's probably been going on today or yesterday, and it could happen also yesterday. For Libras, what I want to say for you is this has to do with career, okay? This has to do with the place you work. This is your work in the world. There could be something that's not quite going right. It's a little bit on the frustrating side. And you could get kind of frustrated and a little bit like, okay, and just feel like, why is this not working correctly for me? And because I feel like Mars and the moon, when they mix together, it just spells frustration. And when Mars is going backwards, things are not going our way. So Libra, stay balanced, stay in yourself, and just know that this will pass. Try not to allow it to really own your day or anything. Just move past it, let it go. Just like I told the Virgos in the world, something's going to be happening with your career, Libra. So just hang in there, okay? And then as we move on to Scorpio, this is in your 9th house. So this has a lot to do with higher learning, or maybe it has something more to do. This is for Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Maybe it has something to do with learning or with spirituality or both. Okay. Like I'm thinking, well, I'm a Scorpio rising, and I'm definitely been struggling a little bit with trying to learn how new marketing techniques, because I've been doing business online since 1992. So now I have to figure out a new way to do marketing. Okay. And so with this in your 9th house, this has a lot to do with higher learning. So just go forward, learn. It may be a little bit hard to integrate things right away, but know that once Mars goes direct, you'll be able to integrate these things. So it could have a lot to do with spirituality, higher learning, also legal things. If you have any kind of legal thing going on, that could also be present at this time, where you're like, this isn't working, or it feels like something might be going backwards. Hang in there, because once Mars goes direct in a few weeks, it will totally turn around and go the opposite direction. Okay. So don't get too caught up in it. Don't allow yourself to get too worried about that. Okay. So that's the 9th house. And then as we move on to Sagittarius, so Sagittarius, this is Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. This is, again, could be a little bit invisible to you. Just like in the 12th house, the 8th houses, sometimes we don't notice, but it probably has something to do with taboo topics, such as money, sex, or taxes, okay? Particularly other people's money, like inheritances or anything like that. Oh man, the 8th house, it could sometimes feel like things aren't quite going right, or something with those topics could be a little bit on the frustrating side. Or you could have also, the other thing that the eighth house rules is the occult, which is astrology, and a variety of things, and that's Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising, you could find yourself a little bit frustrated in the last 24 hours and the next 48 hours going. I'd say 24 hours going forward, you would probably feel a little bit of frustration, particularly having to do with home, and also those taboo topics that I just talked about. Okay, so that's sex, death, taxes, the occult, and also like sort of psychic things that you don't really see. You're not really sure what this is about. Why is this happening this way? Do we have to do it this way right now? And so you could be feeling a little bit like that, Sagittarius. And I just want you to just trust the universe. It is lining you up for a special hit. Okay. And as we go forward, the next sign would be Capricorn. So my Capricorn friends, well, hang in there, because it's going to be about relationships for you. Relationships, all relationships, not just the people you love in your life, but that would also be siblings, people you work with, your friends, any relationships. There could be some frustration in the next 24 hours or so. You could even find yourself a little on the judgmental side, or a little bit like, oh, why is this like this? And there could be some lack of connection, or lack of feeling authentic, like you're not really at home. Like, why do I talk to this person? Like, sometimes it doesn't feel at home, it feels fake. Okay, that's the moon in that's where you're going to be feeling that. Okay, so now hold on one second, because this is Tuesday. Okay, so we're just going to do it that way. All right. So now we go to Aquarius. Now, what I want to say about you, Mars retrograde in Aquarius at this time, is that now the moon has moved into Leo for you. You may have noticed it a little bit during, on Monday a little bit, but really what you're starting to feel is that opposition, because Pluto is in your sign, okay? And it's opposite Mars. So you're really going to be feeling like, I don't want to engage in those lower negative emotions. I don't want to engage in that. And so you might be feeling like you have to have some major transformations, or finding some way to better mental health. Maybe you're seeking out new habits or good habits like daily meditation or something else like that. Okay, so Aquarians, hang in there. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Pluto's going to be in your sign for 20 years, but mostly you'll feel it when Pluto is directly on a sign, or when, like right now, we're having Mars, Pluto opposite each other. So you could be really engaging in that Pluto energy. Okay, and it really is about the collective. You're probably feeling a little bit frustrated about the current events, about the current state of the world. Okay. And now as we move on to Pisces, oh my goodness, you have so much going on for you right now. Sun, moon, and rising, Pisces. You got Venus there that's trying to bring you money, but that means nothing when you are crying all day. And so you may have gotten a great inheritance, or you may have a great job that pays really well, but this sucks because you can't stop crying. Okay. So Pisces friends, hang in there. Allow those tears to fall. Let it go, because it's going to help you feel better soon. So just allow your feelings to come through you. If you feel like stuck or stagnant, try to cry. Try to watch a sad movie or something, and just try to bring the energy up, because it could be stuck in you, and you don't want it to be stuck, because it will make you sick. And right now, Saturn is there, Venus is there, Neptune is there, and the North Node is in Pisces, and the fifth house is packed solid with Mars retrograde. So you might even have a hard time expressing this in your more creative outlets. But I want to assure you that you can do it. You can move through this. my Pisces friend. You can just hang on for the ride. It's going to take you for a ride for the next year and a half, but you are headed in the right direction. The good news is the universe is always pushing you towards enlightenment. Just follow it. Don't fight it. Don't push back. Okay? And that's Pisces. As for Aries people, I want to say, first of all, Aries, you're probably also having something to do with home. Okay? Something to do with home. And with home, that's going to feel like a little bit on the frustrating side sometimes. But also, Aries, you know, you've been dealing with some stuff for a while. Finally, the nodes have moved on. You may be coming to an ending to the story. The nodes have moved out of your sign. And for Aries, you're probably feeling like, oh, I think this might, am I through this? Is like anything else going to happen or what? And so, Aries, if you're feeling that way, I want to reassure you, now's your break time. It will all be back. There will be some new stuff that will be happening. But for Aries people, just relax. This is a little bit of a break. You're having a little bit of a break right now, and just allow the break. That's for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okay, and then as we move into Taurus, Taurus, again, this is definitely about home. The moon is in your 4th house. Of course, it's not full anymore at this point, and it's not even conjunct Mars, but Mars is retrograde in your 4th house, and it's opposite Pluto up in your career. So if there's something going on with work and affording your house and how are you going to do this, or whatever it is going on, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, it will work itself out. I assure you. Try to take the higher vibration and see what can be done at work. Maybe you can get a raise. Hey, Venus is in Pisces. You could totally ask for a raise. You could totally ask for more money or more responsibility, and that might be in your best interest. Okay, Taurus. So Taurus, I know Taurus is usually worried about money because they want to have nice things. It's just the way it is.
They're ruled by Venus.
My son's a Taurus. Yeah,
they love the nice things.
I know they love it.
Have a good life.
And my son's a Taurus moon right now, so I'm like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so and then as we go forward, we have Jupiter, Gemini, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What I want to say about that is, first of all, Jupiter's retrograde in your sign, so it might feel like the bad guy is winning. Gemini. Gemini's definitely going to feel like, why is the bad guy winning right now? Like, why is that happening right now? I'm just going to assure you that's not going to be like that forever. Eventually, Jupiter will move forward. And when it does, justice will be served, especially as Mars also moves forward. So, Gemini friends, as with money and things like that. So if somebody at work is not the greatest employee, but he just got a raise or something or a promotion, and you're like, really? Okay, so just hang in there, just wait, because there's more. So just hang on, allow things to unfold. And with Jupiter in a square to Venus and Jupiter in your sign right now, I'm just going to say, don't do anything that's questionable. Don't do anything that some people might think is negative or not nice or out of integrity. Now's not the time, because it will come back and bite you later. Okay. All right, Gemini. So I think that's everybody.
Wow, that was amazing. Extraordinary.
Yeah. Okay. So hold on a second. We have a bunch of messages. Yeah. I'm sorry, Shauna. Is tomorrow a good day for a reading? Yep. Sure is. Yep. With Venus, with Neptune and the North Node together, it'd be a good time for a reading for the next few weeks, actually. Just probably not on Thursday. You'd probably be better off tomorrow. I'm sorry that you've been crying a lot, Shauna. Crying releases stress hormones and also releases good endorphins, and is scientifically proven beneficial to release trauma and stress. Let it happen. That's right, Izzy.
Way to say it.
Yeah,
Izzy.
exactly.
Well said. Thank you.
No, it's a scammer.
Okay.
Jessica Bradley's a scammer, you guys. So
okay, ignore.
Yeah, so I'm blocking her right now. So please just give it a moment. It just takes a moment. And so Shauna said, Hollis told me You told me when you did my chart that around February 8th that was going to change. I'm confused. This is the 15th or the 8th. It's probably the 8th. It's probably the 8th. Yeah, I can look real quick. When does Mars go direct? If I told you that, I was looking at the chart at that time.
And probably your chart specifically.
Yeah, probably her chart specifically. Yep. It can change. It might be because it's off of your like rising or something.
February 24th.
4th.
Okay.
That's when Mars goes direct.
February 24th.
So we're both wrong.
Okay. We're both wrong. We know it's February.
Shauna, it's probably directly on your chart. I'd have to look a little bit closer. But if that's the date I told you in a reading, then it's accurate. Okay. But for the oh gosh, I got a couple of scammers here. But generally, if I'm in a reading with you, I'm looking at your chart. But generally, for the world, things will get better as Mars goes direct in late February. Okay, so but that's for everybody.
Yeah.
So Ed said the moon eclipses Mars at 7 p.m. Mountain Time today. Any thoughts? One should be able to see this most places. Eclipses Mars. So the moon is eclipsing Mars. I would say that that's the frustration thing that I just talked about.
Yeah.
Ed?
Yeah. That's a good one. Thanks. I hadn't paid attention to that, but you're absolutely right. I think that Moon Mars conversation is frustration, and trying not to lose it, right?
Oh, my birthday, February 24th, Mars is going direct. Yes. So people will start going forward and finding resolutions to the things
Your
they're
birthday is
challenged with
February
now.
24th too. Wow.
Alyssa.
So my mother's birthday was February 24th, and your brother's birthday was February 24th.
Weird.
That's weird. That's weird.
Is this chart available free online?
Can I?
You can just take a screenshot. The chart that you're seeing is a transit chart, so it's not your astrology chart. It's a transit chart. So,
and we use an astrology app that's called Astro Gold. Oops. There's a lot of free charts available. Before I got Astro Gold, I used to use
Astro.com.
Astro.com.
Well, they're the most respected by astrology.
And the neat thing is that you can, fiddle around, and there's so many resources available for free.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not sure which one of them, but one of them lets you put in your birthday and then today's date, and then that gives you what we call a composite chart or a synergy chart that shows you both. And
like this.
Yeah.
So here, this is my chart right here. Oh, you can see my pointer. And you can see that this is my chart. You can see, oh, it's the wrong day.
Just hit now.
I know, but I have to come back to the software to do that.
Oh, right.
So you can see here that here's Saturn for me, and the moon and Mars is on my Saturn. And I had to deal with the system today, right?
Yeah, you did.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, you did.
In order to get my prescription and the whole, they don't go to CVS. What? Okay.
Yeah,
like
that was
so weird. Okay. And especially since they just did it in like a month ago. Oh, well, since January 1st.
Communicated nothing.
And they told nobody. So I was a little frustrated. But anyway, so you can see the moon and Mars were on my Saturn at that time. And I definitely felt it. And that's exactly what I was dealing with. Okay. And so here's Jupiter over here on my Mars going backwards. Sometimes feels like the bad guys are winning. And do I think that my insurance company is a bad guy? Yeah. So this is what I mean when we're talking about when you're looking at two charts. See how this is two different charts, my chart's in the middle and the outside is the transits. That's what I do when I do a reading for you. That's what you can get on a variety of sites.
Which is, by the way, I'm just going to plug Hollis for a second. At the beginning of the year, a lot of people take the time
Smart
to
people.
read, to get their astrology read for the year, to say, okay, man, tell me what I need to know. Just like you've tuned in for the weather this week, knowing, oof, I'm going to have to like hang in there and be productive these months and take a break these months and know that you're going to want to lean in on this and back away
like
from
Shauna
that.
knows that some of her resolution will begin or some of it will chill the hell out by February 8th.
Which is a huge thing. I mean, talk about peace of mind when you have an idea of like, okay, I know this is going to pass and it's only going to last for X amount of time and whatever it is that you need. Hollis is an excellent astrologer, incredible psychic, and so it's a great gift to give yourself. I really cannot recommend highly enough.
All right,
And-
Lacrosse.
Yeah.
Lacrosse, do you have like anything you want to add about animals or anything?
Well, we're coming into the end of the goose, and then the 20th we go into otter. But I think it all kind of coincides because the geese are just mostly about relationships, their home, loyalty, and family. So it's kind of neat to see all that just agree with what the geese give. So I think it's just right now at this point, it's just that glide, fly in that V formation and just kind of glide through this year because it's, this week seems like it's going to be pretty easy. It's not going to be a lot of effort that needs to be done. So that's where I just fly in that V formation and just get where you need to go at the end of the week.
Wow. Well, yeah, it makes me think about geese and home. Geese sometimes get very connected to wherever they live.
Yeah, I my association was geese and Pisces because it's all about the collective. It's all about the group. They're all traveling together. We're all in this together. We're going to get there together and take care of each other along the way. And Pisces kind of functions that way. We've talked about it, Pisces ad nauseum probably, but that it feels like it's always so amazing to me how these things all reflect each other. Like you're about to do a tarot reading. And
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure it'll have some.
Yeah, it'll probably have some reflection of today. What I will say is I want to answer Molly's question because they're new here. They say that this January 25th, most of the planets are aligned. What is your take on this? So, Molly, I think what they're talking about is like astronomy, which is where you can stand outside and see the planets like kind of aligned. Yeah, I think it's a real event. I think it's real. Astrologically, I'm not sure it means the same thing. There are major things happening this year that have never happened before, ever.
Yeah. One of the if
there's that,
you want to deep dive, Rick Levine is a master astrologer. Really, boy, he's been doing it his whole life, and he is a really helps sort of put the larger astrological cycles together. So we just listened to his talk about his views about 2025 and what's coming up and what makes January kind of like, oh my goodness, and the end of the month. You're absolutely right. All those alignments. Mm-hmm. And part of what makes 2025 one of those epic years, like we've never seen this before, is the fact that we have so many planets changing signs. So we had Pluto changing from Capricorn into Aquarius. We have Mars going back and forth between, Leo and Cancer. We have Neptune about to leave Pisces. We have Uranus is going to change signs. Jupiter is going to change signs. These are really big things. And to have them all happen in the same year is kind of like,
it's all the big planets. It's all the big planets.
Really
Those are
big
the ones
stuff.
That are moving.
Really big stuff.
Yeah.
Having Jupiter move out of Gemini into Gemini is followed by Cancer, right?
Say it again.
Cancer follows Jupiter.
It's Jupiter's going into Gemini.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, Jupiter is in Gemini.
Yeah, Jupiter
it's going to change in the summer.
Yep.
I mean, there's just so many.
Yep.
And so it's one of the things that breathing, taking it in, learning what you can, finding this parts of the sky that, like we said, lean into this. This is where the good stuff is.
The
That-
interesting thing about this, Molly, is that a lot of astrologers are kind of like, well,
Mhm.
we're not really sure exactly how this is going to go down, but there's definitely going to be some themes because we do have Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, which is the warrior, which is ruled by Mars, which is very conflict oriented, but it's also going forward. But we do have Pluto in Aquarius, which is very much about the collective. And with Jupiter moving into Cancer, that's very emotional, but it's also very patriotic, emotionally patriotic.
Mm.
So we could see some rock and roll here in our country. Absolutely, especially since we're in what we call the Pluto returns for the United States. We're still in that because Pluto was in Aquarius during the what was it, the French Indian War or whatever it was, right after the Revolutionary War. So that was Pluto was in Aquarius during that time. So
The 1864.
yeah, something like that. Okay. And so just hang in there, and just know that no doubt, what I always say to myself is no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. So the universe meant for this, okay? So even when it's hard, the universe meant for this, and sometimes shit has to fall apart in order for other stuff to come together.
That's for sure.
Okay, let me pull 3 cards to help us in this moment, in the here and now, to have a deeper understanding of the universe as we go forward. And the first card is, this is the Empress, and this is important. This is remember your connections to the earth. So any of you out there that are like even me, a little bit like, should I be prepping? Okay, like, should I like have extra food on my shelf? I'd say yeah. Okay, so this is the past. This is about your connection to the earth, learning how to make your own food, learning how to do things from scratch, learning how to connect to the earth, learning to trust where can you find the North Star in the sky? Can you tell by where the sun is setting or rising, which way is, east and west, and, things like that. Okay. Those are powerful things. How do you connect to the earth? Listen to the animals, connect to your earthy roots. What herbs are good for you? What herbs should you be taking that could be helping you with the health challenges, in case you didn't have access to those prescriptions anymore and things like that. That's what this is about. This is about your connection to the earth. This isn't your connection to the system. This is your connection to the earth, to Mother Earth, to the earth that you were born on, to nature. How do you grow food? That's what this is about. This is about your connection to the earth, including geese, okay? Like, geese fly a certain way, and they work together as a community on purpose. And that's what this is about. This is about recognizing ourselves in nature and how we can all work together to be together. Okay. And now the second card is the here and now. This is the Hanged Man. This is, I always laugh because I want to call it the hanged person. It is a GLBTQ deck. You'd think they'd call it the hanged person, but they don't. They call it the Hanged Man. And essentially with the Hanged Man, it's very much about choices. It's about having 2 ways to go. It's about being this way or that. Not that either way is actually a bad thing. So if you're having to make some choices right now, just make the choice. Just make the choice that makes the most sense right now. Okay? Just make the choice. And that's really what the Hanged Man is about. It's about not sure which way to go kind of feeling, not sure which way you should do, usually having 2 choices, this way or that way. And it's best to just go. Just go towards the way that makes the most sense to you now, which is kind of like what I'm doing with the ICD, right? With the pacemaker. And as we go forward, this is the Queen of Cups. And this is very much about our future. This is where we're headed. This is about authenticity, and I don't know what's happening really completely, but what I do know is that Pluto in Aquarius is very much about being authentic, and so is Gen Z. And the next generation is all about being authentically you. And if you take a look at this card, you can see this person is getting a message from spirit. Get in touch with who you really are. And that's what this is about. This is about harvesting your authentic self and allowing that to shine bright, allowing the universe to serve you the things that you deserve, to bring you the gifts that you need, and to bring the treasures closer to you. Don't push away your authenticity. Allow yourself to be authentic, okay? So just to recap is get in touch with the past, get in touch with who you are, get in touch with your connection to nature. It's very important right now because you're going to need that going forward. And as we're going forward right now, just go ahead and make whatever choices make sense right now. Go ahead and make those choices. Try not to get too hung up on it. Just be like, okay, this way or that way, and just choose the way you're going to go and go that way. And as you're going that way, just recognize that you are coming into your most authentic self. This is about getting in connection with your most authentic self. And that's really important. Your most authentic self is what will bring you treasure and gifts from the universe. That is the most important expression that you can do for yourself at this time.
Wow.
Very good.
Whew.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Molly said, oh my God, I'm having a deja vu. I felt like I dream about this, seeing you in my dream holding that card. Creepy. Well,
Yeah.
don't allow it to be creepy. No.
Synchronicity.
That's great. Synchronicities are great. That's like a you're on the right track. It's like the universe going, good job. I told you. Good, you're listening. Maybe there's something you have to learn from me or something, Molly. I don't know. But I try to go live a couple times a week. I'm usually do my astrology broadcast on Mondays, and then I'll go live another time or two, but this week might be a little bit less. Okay. So anyway, I appreciate you all being here. Wait a minute. We have a quick question. Alyssa says, I'm looking at my chart and my North Node was also in Pisces when I was born. Boy. Oh, but having makes it life-changing
big.
experience, Alyssa. Your life is changing for the
Yeah.
next year and a half. You are on a ride. Hang in there. Just stay the course. Allow.
I would find I found it to be very helpful to say I'm willing to be delightfully surprised, because nodal returns can sometimes be surprising. Things happen that you have no control over. Things just arrive on your shore and you're like, I guess I'm dealing with this now. So many blessings and best wishes, and I hope it all goes well for you.
Yeah, just be ready, be ready, Alyssa. Things are going to be changing for you. Okay. Don't try not to see it as a good thing, because it's sort of like the North Node is sort of like pulling you forward. What's opposite in Virgo? Is there anything down there? Is there anything in Virgo? And I would love to know what house it's in. So, with the South Node, that's what you're letting go. So the opposite in Virgo, that's what you're letting go. The North Node is pulling you forward. And so it's pulling you forward into Pisces. I'm starting to think, I don't know, what are you, psychic or something? Because Pisces is a psychic sign.
And someone can help you with psychic coaching if that's something you want to do and learn.
Yeah, you probably.
Paulus is really well versed in that, very experienced and very helpful.
Your late husband was a Virgo. I bet that would be in the astrology death chart reading. I'd probably be able to tell you more about this nodal return. But I assure you, Alyssa, for the next 18 months, you're gonna be in for a lot of changes. Transformation happens. So be ready to go into your chrysalis. Be ready to transform. You are a caterpillar now, and in a year and a half, you will be flying like a butterfly.
That's a good way to look at it. Well, thanks, everybody.
Yep, and you make sure to like, share, subscribe, please. All the support you can get. I mean, we can get, not you can get. I mean, you're getting support, but we can get. So thank you for watching Rainbow Soul Astrology, and where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. We'll see you next time.
We wish you all the very best. Much love, my friends. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soul Astrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soul Astrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.